extend the summer. Hi, welcome to another edition of Cal's World, where we explore the fast-moving, swirling reality known as our universe. And right now, at Lynn Community TV, we're making some history. Because even though this isn't live, we record this as live because this is member-produced. And it's a little bit bohemian, as they say. Now, right outside now, we've got number 4, blizzard, hitting us. But we still managed to have this go on because the good karma is it kept starting the snow forecast later and later. So we're going to get this thing done and get home. Now, I also have to mention that our originally scheduled guest was newly appointed Chief Stephen Archer of the Lynn Fire Department. So being a first responder and now he's chief, at the very last minute he had to postpone. Chiefs don't cancel, they postpone. So he also was a hero again because he sent a proxy. So we're going to be talking pretty soon with Captain Joe Zukas, who is the EMS coordinator for the Lynn Fire Department. And we're going to talk a little bit about fire safety and the expanded role that fire departments have. And then a little bit later, we're going to have no stranger to the boards and open mics in our city, Patty Punch, to give her own unusual brand of humor. Then we'll chat a little bit about fire safety together. So first, I'm going to welcome to the show, and thanks for being here in a pinch, Captain Joe Zukas.
On 1 hour's notice.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you for having me.
Literally on the way over here, Chief Archer called me and said it's a blizzard going on, and he's the fire chief now.
Yes.
So he's one of the first responder coordinators and managers. So thanks for being here.
I'm glad I could be here.
We just want to talk a little bit about your background, how long you've been on the fire department.
Well, I'm 52 years old. I've been on 30 years. At one time, I was the youngest Lynn firefighter. Now, not so young. But I've been on 30 years. I've risen up the ranks. I'm a captain right now. I'm in charge of EMS. But I've done all various jobs throughout the fire department. I got a pretty broad knowledge of what we do, and the job has completely changed since I first came on back in 1988.
How changed how? Because I guess usually you just waited for a call for a traditional fire, or of course a cat in a tree. But how were things changed, especially in the last 18 years since the towers fell?
Well, the EMS. But a lot of things happened. When I first came on, it was all 100% fire calls. And then in the age of smoke detectors and 911 and cell phones and terrorism after 9/11, now we're truly an all-hazards organization. Whereas EMS, which I direct that division, is 60 to 70% of our workload. And it's the same across the country for all fire departments. So we're an all-hazards department. We do everything, especially if you see what happened in Texas the past couple of days with those bombings. And every day you see in the news something's going on, mass shooting and this. But the fire department's going to be one of the first responders there with the police and with other EMS professionals to help the community.
Now, EMS stands for?
Emergency Medical Services.
So you will be the ambulance that shows up that follows the fire trucks when they come? Do you ever respond without a fire truck?
The fire department has our own ambulances, and we also have Atlantic Ambulances, the private ambulance company. I oversee their contract. They do a wonderful job, too. So when you call 911 for a medical emergency, you get the nearest fire station. There's 6 fire stations in Lynn, and we'll send a fire truck. We'll either send our ambulance, the Lynn Fire Department ambulance, or Atlantic ambulance, or a combination of the two, depending on what the call, when they called 911, what they told us the emergency was. If it's a minor, sprained ankle, we might just send a fire truck, or we might just send an ambulance by itself. It's not a true serious emergency, but if it's a cardiac arrest, somebody's unconscious, not breathing, we're going to send everybody. Even the police are also first responders, and they assist us too. They're all trained to the first responder level. Some of them are EMTs, so also.
Very good. Now, is everybody in your department equipped with?
Yep, every fire truck has an AED. By state law, every police officer and firefighter in the state has to be a first responder at the basic level. Then most of our guys are EMTs that have taken it one step further, and then we got about 30 paramedics, which is even further. A paramedic can give life-saving medications, can start IVs and things like that. Every fire truck has an AED, which is an automated external defibrillator. We're all trained in CPR and all that stuff. So
wonderful. Now, how about Narcan?
Oh,
that must be a standard issue.
Oh, we have not. Last year we saved. I think we gave Narcan out 130 times. That's just the Lynn Fire.
This is the opioid reversal drug.
Naloxone, yeah, and it's amazing. It's like a miracle drug. If you get it to the person quick enough, you can reverse the effects of the heroin.
Right. One thing that I learned at a recent demonstration at the Lynn City Council last year was that you don't have to be a professional to buy it. You can go in without a prescription because it's not good for anything else. You
And it can't hurt you. Nobody's allergic to it so far. They found out. So it's a very benign drug. It only affects you if you're high on heroin.
But this is something that people are starting to take upon themselves to just go to the drugstore and buy to keep in their purse or in their car or whatever, because you never know when you're going to happen upon.
Right, especially if you have a family member or a neighbor or somebody you know that's close by. Yeah. But it works good. So last year we saved over 125 people. I think we gave it 130 times. We saved 125 people. And the police also give it similar numbers, and also Atlantic Ambulance has it and they give it. And then people have it themselves, like at the shelter, at public buildings. And some schools have it right next to the AED. There's some Narcan in there, just to have it close by, just in case it's needed.
Now, let's say, here's a scenario. You've got Narcan. You come upon somebody in some kind of distress. Now, how do you know that it's an opioid overdose and not something else? When do you make the judgment call to administer the Narcan?
Well, a lot of times it's when the call comes in. We'll get a call saying my family member overdosed. We can tell by pinpoint pupils. We can tell the respiratory drive, they're not breathing. The heroin affects the part of the brain that affects breathing, and they actually stop breathing. So if you didn't have Narcan, one of the best things you could do for somebody is give them some rescue breaths if you had a mask or something like that, and get the respiratory drive going. That would do a very similar job as the Narcan does. So that's what happens. So basically their heart stops. They die of cardiac arrest from not breathing.
So I guess the judgment call would be understanding that there's a good Samaritan. I don't know if it's a law, but no judge will fault you if you absolutely had good intentions in saving somebody.
That's what we try and encourage people to take. I teach CPR classes for the public. The Lynn Fire Department officers as a free service for the community. You
know, I've got the Red Cross coming on in a few weeks because that's dear to my heart. Because I've used the Heimlich maneuver twice.
Yeah, we teach that too,
And I've, a few years ago, somebody dropped dead at Trader Joe's in Saugus, and I was there, and we resuscitated her. She was breathing on the way out.
Right.
So I want everybody to know these things.
Right. There's a good Samaritan. Years ago, people were afraid to take CPR classes because what if I do something wrong? I'll get sued. I'll lose my house. You cannot get sued.
Back to the Narcan. If they don't need the Narcan itself doesn't do any harm.
Does not hurt
them. Right? Okay. So rest assured, it's better to err on the side of safety and trying to.
Right. You're not going to hurt the person.
Right. Okay.
Absolutely.
So how are things different in the past few years as far as?
Well, as you read the news, terrorism. Right, like years ago, they used to say if they were going to cancel school, like they cancel school for tomorrow, the superintendent of schools would wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, look outside, and decide to close school. Now we have meetings, we have conference calls on it, where emergency management is a big part of the city of Lynn now. So the mayor's office, the police, fire, DPW, schools, ISD, we'll all get together, discuss the upcoming storm, how we're going to deal with it, and then we'll have an after-action report or meeting. See what we did good, what we did bad, and how to improve it for the next storm.
Right. Now, does Lynn have a city version of, MEMA? I'm familiar with the bunker out on Route 9 in Framingham. You can sort of see this underground, that's mission control for mass emergency.
And I'm part of that myself. I go to all these meetings.
So where's the command headquarters in Lynn?
The emergency we call it the EOC. It's at the Lynn Police Headquarters up on the second floor there.
When they built the new building about 12 or 15 years ago, they must have planned that right in. Good. It's good to have our tax dollars keeping up with the trends.
Yes, technology and everything else, yes.
Right. Yep. So here at the station, I've just floated the idea today that since we do have live feed capabilities, if we have a real like maybe the first blizzard we had a few weeks ago was going to be several high tides. Maybe we could set up a little command center here and have people like yourself come in and shifts and just give a live reassurance to our citizens.
Like Shelby Scott?
Until the power comes on. Well, we won't measure you. They started measuring her in Shelby's, how deep.
Yeah.
Shelby Scott was the Channel 4 reporter who was always known for going out with her little red tasseled hat.
In the worst of weather.
And she was one of the ones that retired, and we all miss her still. Hey, Bozo died. Frank Averush, I just heard it on the radio. We go back 89 years old. He was in the Tux on Channel 5 for years, introducing the movies. But before that, he was Boston's Bozo the Clown. But so I know his son Frank Jr. So best of the family, we all got memories. And we were just talking with one of our audience members tonight about Rex Trailer. Who said that they were in, you were in the boom town, yeah. So, hey, we're tripping down nostalgia lane here. But let's get back to fire prevention. What should everybody do in their own homes and businesses? We went over a list a little while ago, but some of it's common sense, but they need
Well, the most important thing is to have a smoke detector. And by law, since 1975, every house has to have a smoke detector. If your house was built before 75, it can be a battery-operated smoke detector. After 1975, it has to be electrical or hardwired. And so it has to have one outside your bedroom, one on each level of the house. And they also got a new law. I don't know exactly how many years, called Megan's Law. You have to have a carbon monoxide detector in each level of your house, because carbon monoxide is a odorless, colorless gas that can kill you.
Those have to be mounted, if you read correctly, towards the floor, because CO is a heavier gas.
It could be. It could be anywhere. Actually, it does. A smoke detector has to be on the ceiling. The carbon monoxide detector can be anywhere per code. So, long as it's there, one on each level. If you have any fossil burning appliances in your house, like a hot water furnace or anything like that, or a garage. A lot of times, these new cars run so efficiently. Some people will drive their car into the garage, forget to turn it off, and then they'll go upstairs, and the carbon monoxide is going throughout the house, and could be hours later while they're sleeping.
Several years ago in New Jersey, there was a townhouse. Somebody used their automatic starter, killed their neighbors. Yeah. Because they forgot it was running, and it seeped up, and the neighbors were still sleeping. And so these are the little things we have to teach the children.
Especially now, even if everybody we've been losing power in different parts of the state because of these northeasters we just talked about, and people use emergency generators, and sometimes people think they're safe. They'll put it right outside their garage, and it's outside, and the wind can take the fumes inside, and that could be the carbon monoxide too.
The one that I have for our condo association now, we've actually going to have an official pipe plumbed into it or whatever. My mechanic's doing it so that we can actually have a hose that reaches way out. Also, space heaters, they should be used sparingly, and never fall asleep with them, folks. And we have to teach the children, when you're playing around, something paper or cloth can easily fall in front of it. I'm not a big fan of space heaters.
You gotta be careful, especially used ones. A lot of people, if somebody's throwing a space heater out in the trash, don't pick the trash. It's in the trash for a reason, but a lot of people think they're gonna take it, they're gonna use it, or if it has frayed wires, or don't use an extension cord for it. It should be plugged directly into an outlet. No appliances in your house should be plugged into an extension cord. That's dangerous, because the extension cord can heat up.
You know, I'm always big on safety evacuation plans. You got a family. Everybody knows what to do, where to go.
You got to practice
Tell us about this.
Well, yeah, and the most important thing is to have a meeting place. So, I mean, just like we make the schools do it, we supervise 4 of them a year. In your home, you should be having fire drills, because it's one thing that everybody says, oh, I know how to do it. I'm not going to have a fire in my house. So, but you have to practice it, and you can make it fun. You can time your family, see how long it takes to get out. But you have to have a meeting place outside.
So then you don't wonder if everybody's out.
And that's what happens. When we show up, the chief on duty is going to say, is everybody out? And they're going to say, I don't know. Because one kid went to one house, one kid went. You have to have a meeting place. It'd be your neighbor's front porch or across the street.
And practice it. As a family, get into role playing. It's kind of fun, kind of like doing TV or a play. Now, when people evacuate, what should they do if they know that there's gas on? Should they stop and turn off gas, or what? These are the type of judgment calls people need to make.
The most important thing is to get out. We're not looking for you to look for other family members. It sounds mean or sad, but people have died in fires over the years from looking for a family member that might not even be still in the house. So the most important thing is get out of the house. I don't care if you're in your underwear, if you're in whatever it may be. Get out of the house immediately. Stay outside. For young kids, don't hide under the bed. Don't hide in the closet. And it's the smoke that kills people in fires. It's you could die from the flames too, but that's what
smoke rises.
Smoke rises. That's why crawl underneath it.
Know your space. Keep things uncluttered, and know how to feel yourself around. And really, just role play and practice.
And if you sleep with your bedroom door closed, it's good, because it can keep the smoke and fire out of your bedroom for quite some time, depending how thick the door is.
I was just going to mention that, because they're starting on a whole new thing: sleep with the door closed.
Yes, that's
because it gives you time. It's another layer of the artichoke of safety. Now, do they still have those stickers you can put on your windows that say "tot" or
finder.
"dog finder"?
Oh yeah, but the problem is it's supposed to be for young kids. Some people have them on the house, and they've been on for 20 or 30 years. So it's like the boy who cried wolf. They lose their effectiveness because people overuse them. I've had some people have come to the firehouse and want them for themselves. I go, how old's your kid? Oh, it's just for me. And they're 30 years old. It's not. It's for somebody who can't get out on their own. It lets the firefighters know that there could be a baby in a crib, or that's.
So be dutiful. Everybody has to have their own sense of responsibility as well. So check your windows every spring when you clean them. See if you have an appropriate sticker.
Right.
And replace
but if you don't need
it or get rid
take
of
the
it.
sticker off. It's just not helping anybody else.
Maybe it's on the wrong room.
Right.
Whatever.
Or maybe you don't need it.
And what about ABC fire extinguishers?
Well, those are the best because they work for all three types of fires. Type A fire is normal combustibles like wood and paper. B is flammable liquids, and C is electrical. So that takes the guesswork out. You don't have to figure out what type of fire, what type of extinguisher. That covers them all.
Don't go on the cheap either. Get one that's got a good usable gauge. This one says full. And it's pull it, aim, and squirt.
And sweep back and forth and keep it down low,
Yeah, and keep these near where they might be used.
I would say
keep mine right near the stove.
Somewhere near the kitchen, maybe one in the basement, because it's going to, things in your house that produce fire be in that area. Yep, they're very good at that.
Now, I showed this a few weeks ago, but my favorite holiday gift from my loving niece Holly this year, because she knows I live on a 3rd floor, she got me one of these escape ladders. And a word to the wise is, don't do what I did. Get ready to hang it, but don't ever undo the quick release Velcro, because now I have to put that all together. It's like folding up the most Byzantine road map. But anyway, do get these. They're made specifically for 2nd or 3rd floor egress. Hopefully you'll never ever have to use them. They'll get dusty, but they'll never be unwrapped. So anyway, any other tips you want to go through?
Another one they just come out with recently with the age of computers and technology. A lot of people like to charge their laptops on top of their beds. And the laptop has a fan in there, and it cools the laptop. And sometimes if you have a blanket over or something, you're covering that fan, it can't release the hot air, and it heats up. And we've had fires caused by just somebody trying to charge their laptop on top of their bed, and the bedspread's covering it. So be careful.
I'm very conscious of that. I know at least one major computer manufacturer is trying to get rid of the term laptop, because frankly, they're too warm to put on your lap.
They're hot, yeah.
They're hot, and I understand that they can cause red color change on your skin that is kind of permanent.
Yes.
It's kind of a low. You're cooking your thighs, guys, and women. If you.
Right.
So don't do it.
Right.
Have it on something wood, and always understand when it's plugged in when you're not around.
Right.
Make sure it's not near anything that could get hot,
Right.
because it's all about batteries now. The batteries are getting better, but they're also the jury's out on some of the lithium.
Yeah, well, it's like those hoverboards they used to sell at the mall, and remember they were blowing up on they were catching fire on airplanes. Cheap ones, yeah. So you got to be careful. Another is candles. Everybody has a Yankee candle or something in the house to make every room smell like sugar cookie or whatever. But don't go to sleep with candles going. Don't leave the house with a candle going. Just be careful with that, because those can cause fires too.
These are all very important, and we have to teach the children. This is the important thing. I just want to mention, talking about heroes, and first responders to me are always heroes. And Chief Archer, when we called him to get a fire truck positioned at the July 3rd coming up, it's Family Day up at the High Rock Tower. We're going to have the 8th annual reading of the famous Frederick Douglass speech, but also there's pony rides and a place to come and watch fireworks after you do your picnic, and there's food vendors. But Chief Archer said, sure, we'll have a fire truck up there, because kids and young adults and anybody who doesn't like a fire truck can see it up close and talk to you guys about the equipment and what it is.
And our guys like to do it. They like to mix with the public,
So it's also, I'm just plugging, remember, July 3rd's coming up. Even though we got a blizzard raging outside. But I also want to mention, he's not a firefighter, but several years ago there was I've mentioned this before on the show, Lieutenant Michael Kimmick, who now does the PR and mostly the press outreach for the Lynn Police Department, was a patrol person a few years ago, and at the old Global gas station where Popeyes is now, somebody tried to commit suicide, doused himself with gasoline, lit himself on fire, and Michael Kimmick, my hero, grabbed him, wrestled to the ground, saved his life or whatever, but without any regard for his own safety.
Wow.
And I've been trying to get him on the show. He probably is a little shy about that, but I just want to tell you, when you see him, tell him.
He's a good man.
You appreciate
That's
it.
good.
So, anyway, can we introduce our guest now, or actually our arts and entertainment guest? Now, our guest is no stranger on the boards, as I said, and open mics, and we're going to have a little, well, some unusual and wry sense of life from Patty Punch. Take it away.
Yes, hello, hello, hello. Good to be here. You know, whatever age you are, Cal's World is perfect for you. Now, hopefully you like your age. You know, just when you get used to it, it changes, you know? Anyway, I'm a baby boomer. Sounds nice, baby boomer. You know, much cuter than old booze bag. You know, you probably think I spent a fortune for this dress. $2. 80% cotton, 20% radioactive waste. Well, yeah, I mean, you get the best clothes from the clearance rack. Even if the instructions are strange, you know, wash separately in a stream. But there are ways around stuff, you know. You can learn to do anything with a how-to app. You know, how to fix your own teeth with Canadian quarters. I mean, well, it's worse to borrow thousands, go to dental school, then find out you hate to fix somebody else's. Yeah, and there's greeting cards for everything, except sorry, you got ripped off. Yeah, everything's smartphones. Everything's smartphones. Not just greeting cards. You know, mothers call their kids home Jetson style. We were the Flintstones. Now, luckily, I come from a loud family. You know, my mother would open the door, yell, "Patty!" I'd go, "What? Supper! Wait! Right now! I can't! The bus won't be here for 15 minutes!" You know, the older I get, the more I realize how important memories are. You know, remember how good you felt when you told the boss off? So you got fired. You know, sure, you could wind up homeless. You know, that doesn't mean be stupid. Head for Florida, for Miami. I mean, if you're going to live in a cardboard box, do it upright. You know, and you might be happy living in one. You know, you just have to find someone special to share it with until boredom strikes. And you start calling each other names. You know, you idiot! You left the flap open. Yeah. Now, some of you might recognize me as a substitute teacher in Lynn. And I know who. Now, it's a job where anything goes. I mean, if a kid is horsing around, falls out the window, oh, well, you're only there for the day, you know? Yeah. Rich or poor, I want a retirement fund that fits in my purse. You know, fill it with denture cream, a gun. Not that I can shoot anything. You know, I do eat meat. You know, let someone else do the dirty work. You know, my favorite charity, the Farm Sanctuary, rescues farm animals. Yeah, I write that check with this hand while using this one to eat a hot dog. Now the high school kids get that. You know, they're fun. You know, and I have to say that so they don't put a thumbtack on my seat. You know, and before revealing too much, you know, let me thank the audience. Should I thank everybody by name? But we don't have time. No. Oh, I guess not. Oh, we're in a hurry. All right. Thank you, and wonderful audience. Thank you.
Now, Captain Zukas, Patty Punch happens to have a little story that's right up on the alley of what we've been talking about. So, Patty, why don't you tell them a funny little story about you and fire safety?
Well, first of all, hello, Captain Zukas.
Hi, nice to meet you.
I was Miss Fire Prevention in high school,
Wow.
but not a very good one. You know,
You didn't light a fire, did you?
wait till you hear. Now I forget how I wanted to describe this. Yes, not a very good one. What I did is I draped my Miss Fire Prevention banner over the lampshade and started a fire.
Isn't that ironic? And she learned from that, didn't she?
No, I did it again. I did it 2 years in a row, which really shows you how dumb I am. But anyway, and I did bring pictures, not of the fire. That's me and
I just showed
Captain
them.
Nolan at the Fireman's Ball.
What year is this, 1966?
I would say
You
that's
were Miss
66.
Fire
I think
Prevention.
that's what it was.
I was
Now-
1 year old.
Yeah, now Chief Nolan's predecessor, Captain, Chief, I mean, not
Newberry?
a captain, he was a chief. Ever hear of Chief Salzman from Saugus?
No.
Well, did you know he invented, I found out my friend's grandfather, Richie Salzman's grandfather, invented, I gotta get this right, a spring-loaded rescue boat for Braycott Lake rescues, and a self-contained pumper truck. I love that word, pumper truck. A self-contained pumper truck with water inside.
Wow.
Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah.
He claims he's famous. Richie Salzman told me his grandfather's famous.
Does this go back to when I used to see in old movies where the tanker comes by, and there's guys on both sides pumping it like this?
Maybe.
I thought he'd know.
Well, yeah.
I thought you'd know.
Well,
I just pretend I know.
Why don't we do that research? We do that
Sound like you
research
know.
and we'll bring it up when Chief Archer's on. You know, we kind of have to wrap this up a little bit. How many more minutes do we have? About 2 minutes?
2 minutes,
Okay.
okay.
So, you want to talk any last little bits of advice between the two of you? You've started a fire and you know how not to do that. So, get to know the captain. You got anything you could...
See, if you were around today, I'd put you through my juvenile fire setter program. No, so we do have fire department has a program to educate kids. So we look at kids that they're not bad kids, they're good kids. They made a mistake, they lit a fire, and we put them through a program like that. So.
The pyromaniacs.
No, they're not pyromaniacs. No. We don't call people names. No, it's just everybody can make mistakes. So that's all. But so we have, like, as we said before, we have a lot of different programs we do in the fire department. It's not just fire. It's EMS. It's hazardous materials. It's we do water rescues, ice rescues, car accidents. If there was ever a domestic terrorism case, we're going to be involved in it. We're involved with the storm today,
You're a
tomorrow.
brave man.
Yes, we do a lot. We do a lot. It's not just fighting fires. We do, and we'll be at your house between 3, 4, 5 minutes. So that's you call 911, we'll be right there. Which is another thing. Before I go, everybody has to when you call 911 on your cell phone, it doesn't go to the local police. It goes to a local dispatch center in Danvers, and you got to tell them where you are, and they'll transfer you to the Lynn police, then they'll transfer you to the fire department. So don't be discouraged. Don't give up. It might take you, even though technology is good with our cell phones, it's going to take you a few times. So it's not as the old phones used to be in our home that nobody even uses the regular phones anymore. Everybody has their cell phones. So it's important to call us too. Just remember that. It's
911.
911.
At least it's still 911.
It's still 911 across the country. Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. One of our guests, Julio Barre, is in the audience, and hopefully he's going to come on and entertain us in a few weeks. But he brought some homemade cookies. So we're all going to be sitting here eating cookies. And look, I got some leftover
St. Patty's
Day. And it's fun because we have a virtual chroma key of the fire department behind us. And if you have green, you can see it right through the cookie. See that?
Uh-huh.
See that? There's the windows.
Wow.
There's the thing. And by the way, sitting over here on behind the captain is the area where if you were to go to the Western Avenue headquarters, you'd see the memorial and monument for the fallen firefighters. It's a moving tribute, and how many names are on there?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, this.
But they go back as far as records are kept.
Yes, as far as we could research. Yes, I remember when they did it. Yes.
So
Yeah.
go by and you know, pay your respects for the fallen
Thank God,
firefighters.
it's not a common occurrence. Thank God. You know.
Oh, by the way, there's a brand new thing. President Trump was in town the other day. Well, not in our town. It was in Boston.
Yeah.
But he mentioned the Safe Station program. So if you're ODing, you can go to an on-duty firefighter at a
Well, you
headquarters.
can always do that, whether President Trump started that or not.
Well, good. See, he's a little behind.
He might be a little bit behind.